Hello and welcome. My name's Jack. This week on Concordia on Air, we have
Students petition for more respite days.
In sports, the Vikings again.
And on A&E, gay cowboys?
all that and more on Concordia on Air. So before the show, Parker and I couldn't stop talking about how excited we are for Thanksgiving break. I mean, I don't know about you guys out there, but I am so relieved that we're 2 days away.
We are this close. Jack, now I must know, do you have a favorite Thanksgiving side dish meal?
Okay, stuffing hits on a different level,
Oh,
especially the second day after. But I really like butternut squash pie. It's literally like a healthier version of pumpkin pie, but then they sprinkle a ton of brown sugar on it, and it's about the same amount of calories.
yeah.
It kind of evens itself out.
Questionable.
How about you, Parker?
So it's funny that you bring up stuffing. I absolutely despise stuffing in
What?
every way. It's because one time my grandmother made oyster stuffing growing up, and I ate it and I spit it all out, and ever since, can't eat stuffing.
Oysters in the
I-
middle of the North American continent.
It's not-
Always a
it's not
classic.
great. If I have a favorite though, this is gonna be a little weird maybe. I really like mac and cheese. My family usually makes homemade mac and cheese as like a side dish for Thanksgiving. And I don't know, my mom makes good homemade stuff, so.
I kind of expected something weirder, and I think I'm a little desensitized because Chandler Bing on Friends, if you guys know, eats mac and cheese at Thanksgiving.
Yes.
So I think that's where it comes from.
Probably.
I'm trying to think of other great foods. Green bean casserole, total Minnesota thing, I think, but amazing.
Yes.
And Christmas and the holidays just around the corner.
We are getting there, which is scary that it's already here, to think how fast this year has already gone. If you can think back to like this entire year, how did your 2020 start off and how is it now?
My 2020 started off with me thinking I was going to peak as a senior in high school, and my 2020 is ending with me looking like I'm going to peak in high school. So,
You won't peak in high school. Are you kidding me?
as we're going
There's
right
a
now,
lot of people who
2020.
peak in high school. A lot. You're not one of them.
How about you? What's your 2020 looking like from the beginning to the end?
I began 2020 waking up on a hill in New Zealand, and now we have a pandemic. And New Zealand does not. Well, they do, but they don't have any active cases currently, so they're out living life. And now, I picked the wrong time to go to New Zealand, I guess. I don't know. It's been a good year, though, all in all, for
Yeah.
me, anyways.
I think there's been a lot of positives, especially, I'm going to talk about this later in my interview, but being a freshman here,
Yeah.
I mean, there's been a lot of cool things that COVID actually has prompted, like a lot of activities that I don't think would have happened if COVID didn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you always got to look on the bright side of
Yeah.
things.
So not like a big yay for COVID, but
Oh, yeah, no.
there's good things out there too. No, I like that point. That's a good point.
Are you ready for second semester, though?
No,
I mean,
absolutely not. I changed my class schedule like 4 separate times. I always do. I get impulsive and I'm like, I don't want to do this, blah blah blah. How are you feeling about your class schedule?
18 credits up and rolling. I did it at 7
Okay.
a.m. this morning.
Good for
It was
you.
beautiful.
Good for you. And what classes are you gonna take?
The classics, health,
We love health.
religion, French, and I think biology, of
Do you have a
course.
specific comm class that you're gonna take?
It's argumentation.
Is that with? Who is that with?
Sternhagen?
You are gonna really enjoy that class.
That's what I've heard. And my dad's a lawyer, and he always argues with me, so I'm hoping that this class really gives me an edge at beating him for once at an argument.
I fully believe that.
Thank you.
Yes, of course. Okay, so it sounds like you got your class schedule set. Is there anything else you're looking forward to next semester?
Spring break.
Yep, that's
College
fair.
spring break sounds pretty cool. And then the May term,
Okay,
when I won't
yes.
be in school. So,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay, well that sounds lovely. I'm also very excited for spring break. I remember growing up, I would see all these people go on these like elaborate spring break trips. I know it's a little bit early to talk about warm weather, but if you could go on any dream spring break trip, what would it be?
In the United States, Florida. I love Miami and
In-
Fort Myers.
Florida. Okay, just had to show it. If I had it on my back, it makes sense to show it, right?
Yeah.
No, was that weird? Okay.
And outside of the United States, definitely Canada. I love Canada. It's cheap and it's right next door, and they have a lot of great food and
agree.
culture. So, what about you? What's your ideal spring break trip?
It's funny that you bring up Canada. Last spring break, I did go to Canada. I went to Winnipeg, so like
3 hours
pretty
from here.
pretty
So
close, pretty
jealous.
close. And I had the best poutine in my entire life, which makes sense. I also had the best beignets, which I was not expecting, but makes sense. Canada has a lot of French culture incorporated, so beignets, French, Canada, it all makes sense. No, but that's it. I love Canada. I always think it's fun. I would love to go to grad school there one day.
Oh, if only I could afford grad school. I mean, then I
Maybe,
would go.
you never know.
True.
You'll find
A lottery
a
ticket.
lump of cash.
A lump
somewhere.
of cash just sitting around. All right, we're going to move on to news next.
With students feeling the stress of the semester, a petition has been started by students on campus calling for school to put more respite days into the schedule for next semester. This petition started making its rounds on social media platforms this past weekend. Originally looking for signatures from 500 students, that goal was met. 870 signatures from the students of Concordia in total, and the goal has been extended to 1,000 signatures. This petition looks to add an additional 4 respite days to the spring 2021 semester, which will be implemented in the middle of the week so students, regardless of their schedules, will all receive an adequate break, but to also avoid students from getting a long weekend in which they may travel and contract COVID. With the amount of attention that students are giving to this petition, administration has taken notice and have been in talks with the creators of the petition, but no major details have come from this so far. The petition calls for this change in the schedule to be made before the commencement of this semester's finals, but only time will tell what will happen. Last summer, celebrity chef and TV personality Guy Fieri visited the Fargo-Moorhead area, and several local restaurants will be featured on his Food Network show, Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. The restaurants featured are Pounds, Blackbird, Nicole's Bakery, Passage to India, as well as Soul Avenue Kitchen and Rustica in Moorhead. Each week, a new restaurant will be featured as a segment alongside other restaurants from around the country. The show provides exposure for small, locally owned establishments that rely on a consistent customer base to survive. Many restaurants have been struggling this year due to capacity restrictions and decreased number of people going out. Because of this, many places rely on takeout orders to stay afloat. This is why receiving the exposure from the show is so important, since it will help boost business. This week, an ecological study was published in the journal Science, which focused on the shifting relationships between wolves and beavers and the effect those differences are having on the environment. The study was conducted at several national parks in northern Minnesota and followed packs of wolves over the course of a year. The researchers tracked the hunting habits of these wolves to better understand the role that predators play in the ecosystem. The data revealed that one of the main prey of wolves were beavers. Although the number of beavers they killed were significant, it was not enough to have a long-term effect on their populations. However, this was shown to have an effect on where the beavers built their dams. This was seen as significant in shaping wetlands and waterways, as where beavers build their dams dictates the creation of ponds and the direction of flowing water. The researchers hope to expand their findings from this study to other state parks in examining the relationship between wildlife and the habitats they live in.
All right, welcome back to the host section. I am joined today by two freshmen who are both roommates, so that's why they're standing next to each other. We have Emma on the far left and Colette right next to me. Thank you guys so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
So I'm going to have them introduce themselves first. As I already said, their first year, but Emma and Colette, what are you guys' majors and minors?
My name is Emma. I'm originally from St. Michael, Minnesota, where me and Colette attended since elementary school together. My majors are environmental sciences with a concentration in natural sciences and heritage and museum studies.
And I'm double majoring in Chinese language and global studies.
Perfect. All right. So I'm also a freshman too, and it's our first year on campus. And I mean, I don't know, I've had a lot of great memories so far. Have you guys had any favorite memories?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite ones is actually meeting Jack for the first time. We met in the scene shop. We were rivals in high school, but we slowly became friends from enemies. So that was probably my favorite.
Sorry, that was so soft.
I would say just moving in and like being roommates with Emma and just like we kind of meet and hang out with the same people, and so like those are all really fun memories for me.
Cool. All right. So Parker and I were talking about earlier about how COVID has definitely changed a lot of things that we didn't expect. What do you think are some of the downsides of having COVID as like our first semester ever at college?
Just the lack of being able to get out and meet people. Like I've met a fair amount of people, and I have like a pretty decent group of friends. This is my decent group of friends. Hi. But I definitely just not being able to get out and get as involved as I would hope to.
Yeah, I just spend way too much time in my dorm, which I don't want to be doing.
I definitely agree with that. I've been spending a lot of my time in my dorm, and early in the semester I would like go to state parks. I'd go to the parks in Fargo, like try and read, but now that it's like 20 degrees every day, it just doesn't happen. But there have been a lot of positive things that have come out of COVID. I've been kind of surprised. I mean, one thing is all the different like online gaming and virtual sessions that have been happening through campus. Do you guys have any positive things that you think came out of COVID?
Being able to sleep more. Just with like the flexibility of like classes being online, I need sleep to function. So
As her roommate, it's not a positive. For me, probably just like I've really learned to manage my time because I have to be way more reliable with like getting everything done on time because it's all online.
Mm-hmm. Now, I mean, I'm so excited for break. A whole month off. Is there something that you guys are specifically excited for during break, or are you just excited to go whole period?
not having to use shower shoes for once.
True.
Just being able to feel like the tile under my feet and not having to worry about whatever the heck is on those tiles. I'm so ready for that.
I'm just ready to go home and see my dog. That's what I'm most excited for.
I haven't seen my dog since August, and I've been missing him so much. His name's Kiko. We're pretty sure he's named after the soy sauce Kikoman, but we're not really sure. Also, with the shower shoe things, that's such a weird thing to bring up because that's not something you think about. And then, like, you see other freshmen or, like, other people on your floor come into the bathroom with bare feet, and you're like, oh.
I've seen people, like, on their stories, like, laid down in the shower, and I'm just
Ugh.
like,
It's so weird because, like, they're clean. The showers are clean, and the cleaning staff does such a great job in the dorms. But, like, just the thought of it.
I'm just like, I don't know where your feet have been. Keep your shower shoes on, please.
Are you guys ready for second semester, though? I mean, that's coming right around the corner at the new year. What classes are you guys taking?
I'm taking Intro to Theater, Evolution and Diversity, the gym class that I really don't want to have to take. I'm taking more classes. I'm just blanking very hardcore right now. Oh, and 2 Heritage Museum study courses.
Interesting. How about you, Colette?
I'm kind of like scaling back on like my major focuses right now. I'm gonna keep Chinese, but then I'm just gonna work on generals from there.
That's a great idea. I got all my generals done right away, and such a relief. Oh, thank you. But hey, I mean, there's a lot of great things coming second semester, and I mean, let's be honest. Do you think next year will be more similar to the old normal or the new normal? Or do you think it will be a mix? I mean, I'm thinking that we'll be pretty close to being done with COVID, but I don't think it will be the exact same.
I'm just praying for like a vaccine around like March, April, May to kind of like, happy birthday, COVID, get out.
I think it's just going to be sticking to the new normal for a bit longer, but hopefully, like Emma said, a vaccine will come soon.
Yeah, that's rough, but also true, and hopefully hopeful as you guys are. I mean, it's been hard especially to keep a positive outlook on everything COVID, and coming as the class of 2020, I mean, we had a different experience than I think everyone told us our high school senior year was going to be. But hey, take it from me, 2021 has it a lot worse. So if you're going to give anybody pity, give it to them. So anyways, I'd like to thank Emma and Colette so much for coming in today. And it's always a great pleasure to talk to you guys. We're going to eat dinner after this. So, I mean, I'm not really going to be getting rid of them. But anyways, thank you guys so much for coming in. And now we're going on to sports.
Gobble, gobble, sports fans. It's almost Thanksgiving. You know what that means. That's right, more football. The red-hot Minnesota Vikings extended their winning streak to 3 with a 19-13 win on Monday Night Football against the floundering Chicago Bears, who have now lost 4 in a row after starting the year with a 5-1 record. Kirk Cousins led the Vikings with 2 touchdowns, both to Adam Thielen, and nearly 300 yards of passing and only one of his trademarked interceptions. Dalvin Cook, he was kept out of the end zone, but he still managed to rush for 96 yards. And the Vikings' defense was probably the best it had been all season, in the second half especially, as it only allowed the Bears to pick up a single first down in the entire half. The Vikings are now sitting at 3rd place in the NFC North with a 4-5 record, only trailing the Bears, who have a 5-5 record by a half game for 2nd place. The Vikings' next 3 opponents, the Cowboys, Jaguars, and Panthers, have a combined record of 6-22. So, if the Vikings keep playing like they have been the past 3 weeks, they could end up being 7-5 before their matchup against Tom Brady and the Buccaneers. After last NBA season finished up in the bubble in October, the long-awaited NBA draft night is finally upon us, and the Minnesota Timberwolves fans can rejoice because they are excited about having the first overall pick this year. The top 3 candidates to be their number 1 overall pick and play alongside Karl Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell are James Wiseman out of the University of Memphis, Anthony Edwards out of Georgia, and LaMelo Ball, who played in Australia last season after playing in college. With plenty of trades taking place today in advance of the draft, there's no shortage of rumors of who Minnesota is going to take, or if they'll end up trading the pick. Only time will tell us, and we'll be able to find out tonight on ESPN at 7 o'clock. And now, here's a package.
Dr. Joseph Whitaker has been a professor at Concordia for several years. He teaches an ecology class this semester.
I guess one of my overall favorite things about it is getting to see the students working out in the field, getting to see them figure things out as they're out there and learn to appreciate the environment around them, and then just really watching them work their imaginations to come up with project ideas.
This class is really interesting because it really is kind of interpretive and you can go any way with it, so it doesn't follow a certain path. In some parts it does, but the same part you get to learn so much about the world we live in that it's not always the same. So I think that's really interesting.
Throughout the semester, students work on projects they have selected earlier in the year. Dr. Whitaker helps guide the students through this process.
Certainly gives them an understanding of the environment to the point where they're a little bit more interested typically. And then the lecture topics, we frequently try to hit on issues of sustainability and sort of how do we reverse some of the damage we've caused. I was just talking to a couple of students that are going to do a project here on campus looking at squirrels and whether they avoid feeding on stations where there is bobcat urine or whether they don't really care about the smell of bobcat urine or not. So they're going to do a study like that. There's another group doing a study on squirrel sort of diet choice. They're going to present them with some sort of more human-based or anthropogenic food sources and see if they prefer those to more natural food sources and see what they go for, if they've been trained here on campus to eat human food sources or not.
We each kind of choose a project at the beginning of the year, and right now we're working on it. So we go out and we determine how the different parts of the ecology in our environment and around Concordia is working together. So we are measuring lichen growth on trees. We started out measuring lichen down by the river, and then we're measuring it closer to Concordia to see how water level and canopy cover and other factors determine the growth of lichen on the trees.
We have a lot of students that want to go into the health sciences, so having them get an idea of what the environment, what's going on in the environment can have a lot of implications for what's going on with health as well. So they can look at issues of water quality, habitat quality, soil characteristics, and then how those things can relate back to human health.
Although this class is required for biology students like Wade, Dr. Whitaker believes it would be beneficial for all students.
Just working through a project, sort of from the proposal stage, thinking through it, figuring out the best way to collect data, running into some of the problems that they have to adjust very quickly, teaching them some flexibility. I think those things work really well for getting them to think about science in general. So no matter what they go into, I think they're in a better position to read and critically evaluate scientific articles, and really to then help hopefully make good decisions for moving into the future as well.
Welcome over to A&E Arts and Entertainment fans. Grant, do you know what we're talking about today?
Judging by the teas, I would say it's something about Western singers.
Western singers? And what about these Western singers make them interesting?
Well, if the Western music wasn't enough, I'd say the fact that they're gay cowboys.
That's very offensive. It's not. I'm just joking. I love to mess with people like that. Sorry. Here we have Orville Peck over on the right, and we have Little Nas X over on the left here. They are two people that are absolutely tearing up the country music industry at the moment. But really what I'm interested in talking about today is the idea of genre bending. And that is when you take two different areas of music that you wouldn't think work together, and then you put them together, and then they work. And in the case of Little Nas X, he has combined rap and country. I think that is innovative. Do you remember Old Town Road?
Oh, of course. For the last 2 years, I haven't been able to stop hearing it in my internal monologue.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so we all know Old Town Road, of course. Old Town Road. Can you tell me a little bit more about the first time you heard it? Where were you? Was it a religious experience for you?
Well, I remember I was in Bogstead Manor, sophomore year, just to set the scene. And then I saw online a meme, a Twitter post. It had the famous LeBron James, Dwayne Wade picture of one of them dunking, one of them just posing like that. And they put Billy Ray Cyrus's head and Lil Nas X's head on them. And then it said Lil Nas X and Billy Ray Cyrus ending racism.
They sure did not do that, but it's nice to think that maybe they could.
Yeah.
Definitely not Billy Cyrus though. Maybe Lil Nas anyways. And I do believe the sole purpose why that song blew up the way it did, I mean, it is very entertaining, right? It has a lot of star value, but also the fact that you combine rap music and country. I had never heard it before I heard Old Town Road. Now, if it's true country and true rap, I think that is still up for debate. I know a lot of people like to refute that refute that it's something different. What would you have to say? Do you think it's actually both rap and country, or is it something new?
I would say it is both rap and country because it raps, but about country matters, like horses, and just loving to be out in the country instead of in the city. And I just think it has that twang to it as well.
Yeehaw.
That I associate with the country.
With the country. And now, Grant, you grew up in the country. Grant grew up in Hawley, Minnesota, population around 2,000 people, same size as Concordia, but with more old people.
Yeah.
Would you tell us, did you listen to country music growing up?
I was sadly forced to listen to country music on the bus rides until about 7th grade when I was like, Dad, I can't take it anymore. You're driving me to school now. So yes, I was forced to listen to country on bus rides, but other than that, I did not willfully listen to country music, no.
Do you think country music like Little Nas that introduces new elements of different areas of music? Because I know he has songs that is country, but it's also pop punk. It's not just rap. Do you think that appeals to country, to your typical country music star?
Well, I think if you go back to old country, before 9/11, when country took a shift to being overtly nationalistic, I think it shares a lot in common.
Yeah.
With those country songs that were just about vibing in the country, having a good time, instead of just America's great. I think it really captures the essence of what I see as real country music, and I do like country music that was made over 20 years ago.
I agree. I think I'm a really big fan of Dolly Parton and Bob Dylan and John Denver, for sure. I think those are the only 3 country music stars that I will actively listen to on a semi-regular basis, probably bi-monthly. Am I missing anyone from that list?
I mean, I don't think you're missing anyone from the list, but 90s country singers like Brooks and Dunn, I think they were doing good stuff in the mid-90s. and I think only like after like 2000 did artists still making music sort of take that turn to selling out.
And now I do believe old country music has had, a lot of the songs can be looked at as more masculine leaning, if that makes sense. Maybe it has more of like a sultry guy tone to it. That is a really big appeal of what Orville Peck does with his music. His music sounds like a lot like Johnny Cash's old music, in my opinion. And I think a lot of people are somewhat put off by that because he is an openly gay man, and people who are less open to homosexual artists, especially in an area of music where there's not many gay artists, I think people are often like, how be gay and sing country? What?
Yeah, like who gave straight people the right to masculinity? I mean, he has that same. I was listening today. Haven't heard an Orville Peck song before today. I was like, wow, he sounds a lot like Johnny Cash. And Johnny Cash, typically viewed as like the manliest man you can be. But just because you're gay, it doesn't mean you can't be masculine. I mean, his voice, it's just like creamy molasses flowing out. It's amazing.
We are really ending homophobia today on this segment of A&E, and I'm proud of both of us. So some more genre-bending areas. My favorite recently has been pop punk, which listen, I'm a little bit of a fake fan. I thought they were the same thing. Pop punk and emo music, and also rap intertwined. A really big artist that covered all three of those genres was XXXTentacion, who is a problematic figure for sure. Have you listened to any of his music, and did you kind of get the vibe that like it was more than just rap music or more than just emo music? Or
I mean, I haven't heard much of his songs. The most I've heard is probably on like TikTok, where kids are like sending up prayers to X or whatever they do.
Yep.
But I get the vibe that he sings songs like that resonate with people like with mental health issues, like so many of us are being more and more open about, and I think that's just it's mostly a good thing. Even no matter the person it comes from, I think getting people to sort of listen and talk about that stuff, it's always a good thing.
I agree. Are there any two genres of music that you want to see combine and make something brand new? I always think of the scene from Ratatouille where he takes a little bite of the cheese and then he takes a little bite of the apple. And, you know, they're two very different, like, very beautiful, like, songs. But when he eats them both at the same time, it makes something even better. Something jazzier. Can you think of any two music genres that you want to see together?
Well, I love old R&B. Like James Brown, the greatest R&B singer, in my opinion. But I also love, like, dad rock.
Dad rock?
Yeah, like Golden Earring, Radar Love. Ooh, give me some of that. So maybe some R&B rock. I don't know if that's been done. It probably has been in like the 80s, but I'd like to see some of that today.
No, I agree. I have been really on an 80s music kick. I would love to see some of like the synthesized music from the 80s mixed more with like your like dark like rock music. And I know that's similar to what you said, but
kind of like the John Wick soundtrack.
Is that like that? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe so. Anyways, I definitely have. I know stuff like that out there exists, but I haven't found it yet.
Yeah, it's like trying to find music you don't already know of. It's like digging for gold. Like you keep digging away day by day, and then that last hit, you'll be able to find that vein of what you're looking for.
All right. Well, that's all we have on genre bending music today. Thank you for tuning into A&E. Now back to our hosts.
And as Parker said, now back to our host, because it's only me, guys. But hey, that's okay. And I'm going to make this short and sweet because we all want to go home for Thanksgiving break. So thank you guys so much for tuning into our last live performance of the year, because who knows, we might have something online. I'm not trying to give any spoilers or anything, but just saying. Anyways, have a great Thanksgiving. Have a great holiday season, or Honda Day season, as we say it in my family. And please stay safe. We'll see you all at the new year.